Hello everyone, it's Sylvia from Tarot. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to have a look at everything that has happened in the month of March when it comes to my tarot practice. So all of the decks that came to me, all of the really busy practices that we are sharing with my members, and generally speaking, all of the fun things that I got to do in March, which was, by the way, a very busy month after I had been away for a month, for the month of February, and coming back home, on the one hand I was like, okay, I really have to roll up my sleeves and get to do everything, or on the other hand I was also kind of happy and excited because when I got home I found a few little parcels of decks waiting for me, so it's gonna be fun. Okay, so I kind of have to go back to my Hobonichi Techo weeks because I write everything in here. I also have another agenda, like a planner for the year, which is very useful as well, but it's an A5 size, and so that one doesn't actually make it when I travel, but this one I just take it everywhere. It is absolutely fantastic. I really love writing in this Tomoe Riva paper. This, by the way, if you're a stationery fanatic as well, or a Tomoe Riva paper fanatic as well, the agendas that Hobonichi published for the year 2024, the Techo weeks with a January start, still with the old formula of the Tomoe Riva paper, and the ones with the April start are actually switched onto the new formula. So I don't know if it for people that really love fountain pen inks, this is kind of relevant because by changing a formula they kind of changed the reaction of the paper with the ink. But obviously if you're not interested. So as you can see, it's been a really busy month of March, and what happened is that I kind of I decided to start publishing videos 3 times a week for the subscribers, and another 2 to 3 times a week for my members. So my months are being very busy lately, and it is, so far it's been really heaps of fun, so I have no intention of changing that, and I keep on adding new stuff that we're going to do with the members. So obviously for this month, for example, we've all started the deck and walk, so this is something that adds up on all of the videos that I have planned. But I told myself, it's actually, this kind of corner is really nice for me. It gives me really good vibes. I actually wake up in the morning and I'm really looking forward to film a video, and I watch a lot of videos as well, which is something that sometimes YouTubers or tubers don't really have time to film their own videos and then watch others. But I keep on doing that because I get new ideas, and it's also really fun to see what other tarot tubers are doing at the moment. So just to show you quickly, let's have a look. So we're going to have a look at all of the decks, obviously, but first I wanted to show you this is my journal for the month of March, and it's really the whole month, it's March. And I tried using the Kakriya, which is a brand of Japanese stationery. This was the first time that I used the Kakriya as a journal. I have to say I really loved it, and but ironically, because this was the last one that I had for the month of April, I'm actually switching to the Tomoe Riva on the Traveler's Notebook, let's say book, and so it's gonna have a different kind of feel to it because Kakriya doesn't use Tomoe Riva paper. But in any case, it's been kind of fun to fill in a whole journal, a whole notebook with the full month. So basically this is more or less when I started, and these are just notes that I've taken. In the month of March, I've done a lot of meditation with color therapy, so I really like color I am a fountain pen inks aficionado, and so obviously it is kind of something that, you know, I do every day, and it's swatching inks for me is a very soothing kind of activity. And so I wanted to associate color with the colors traditionally associated with the chakras, and then I did some meditation ritual for each and every one of them, you know, focusing also on obviously on the colors. And here's where I do all of my daily pulls. So I usually do something positive for today, something to be mindful about. And then the third card I keep as a today's message. Sometimes I also add an oracle card. And so this is, you know, I didn't probably do it all every single day. Sometimes I was just like this. This is an accurate representation of my mind. Sometimes, especially when I have a migraine, you know, everything takes on a different shape, and I thought to myself, I'm just gonna try and put it on paper, and it was a disaster. But you know, that was exactly what was going on, the chaos that was in my mind, and the migraine, and the pain and the auras. And you know, sometimes I was really blue and I was like, I need cats today. And so I was just making sure to be close to my two little fur babies. And as I said, so I was doing this meditation throughout all of the chakras with associations to the colors. And please forgive my doodles. I'm not good at all, but I do like doing that. And so I thought to myself, being very conscious about showing what I do, on the one hand makes me not share it, but on the other hand it's a pity, because by not sharing what you're doing, I noticed that people don't share back. And it's a beautiful thing when everyone is actually telling their stories throughout the months or throughout the week of the day, or whatever your rhythm wants. And I thought, okay, well, you know, I write in Italian when it comes to journaling, and so I feel less exposed as well. And I thought about sharing all of these as well. This was the 8th of March, which was the International Women's Day. And, you know, I was asking myself, what does it mean to be a woman in this day and age? And, you know, pulling cards around that. And then I continue my chakra meditation rituals with the different colors. And this is so much fun. So basically with my members, we're going through all of the yokai. So yokai is a Japanese supernatural being. So we're going through all of the yokais of the Yokai Yochi Tarot, but during the month we switched to also to the Tarocchi Yokai, which is an Italian version of a yokai tarot, which is also available in French, by the way, if you want. And by the way, for all of the decks that are still available, I'll make sure to put the link in the description box below, just if you want to check them out, or if you want to purchase them. And so I just picked one of the yokais, and I thought about, this is the Knight of Wands, by the way, and I thought about doing a deep dive. And so with my members, we call it the Down the Rabbit Hole, because that's exactly what it is. So we find something we're very passionate about related to tarot, and specific a tarot deck. And so it's a fun way to implement a deck study group, basically. So I picked one, and it's Gozo, and Gozo is the ox head, or also sometimes depicted as a horse face, and it's a guardian of the underworld. And the myth of the Gozo starts actually in China, and then it migrated into and got integrated into the Japanese culture. But because I went to Korea, to Seoul, I met with an artist, and a really fantastic artist, visual artist, and I got this print from their shop, and in a few words, we were trying to establish whether it's indeed related to Gozo or not. And I think that we pretty much understood each other, and it definitely is. And so I did this deep dive on that figure, that yokai. And then I bought this, and I just wanted to show you. I just decided to click on the buy button, and I got this Instax mini little play, and it's so much fun. The quality is not great, but it's the kind of you probably expect it not to be great. It is not a printer, it's just one of those you know, Instamatic kind of cameras that you take a photo and then it prints it automatically. And I can attach them to the journal, which is something that is really proven to be lots and lots of fun, so much so that I started doing it almost every day. And then I realized that these the papers here are really expensive. They're like $4 each, and so I had to rein that in because it's, you know, it's decidedly expensive. And then I was gifted heaps of stuff from Eco, which is an Australian brand with which makes basically skin products, which is very, very cool. And another, you know, solar plexus chakra meditation, in which I was supposed to use a yellow color, but obviously I only found orangey colors, but it's fine. And again, I was just trying, you know, just trying out new spreads, for example, integrated tarot and oracle. And in this case, for example, I paired up the because I had just received the Deadly Apothecary Oracle, and so I paired it up with a couple of decks, so the Lost Tarot and also the Carnival, the Carnival at the End of the World Tarot and the Tarot of the Drowning World, and I think that it's absolutely fantastic. And then I purchased the indie edition of the Mystic Palette Tarot by Ciro Marchetti, and I absolutely love it, and I used it for a fair bit of the month. But I'm going to show you all of the decks that got in my collection in March. Then I did the other meditation with the Anahata Chakra, with the Heart Chakra, using the Circle of Doors tarot, as you can see. And I got my Jerry here to be my faithful companion for the month of March, but I like it so much I decided to just leave it permanently on my desk. So you'll be acquainted with Jerry. And then I received the really gorgeous Gothmancy deck. I absolutely love this deck because it refers back to rock, basically, bands. And again, I will show you, I will make sure to show the deck. It was St. Patrick's Day, and I did the St. Patty's deck, tarot deck VR, which was so much fun. And meditation with the throat chakra. The throat chakra is very important for me, and so I chose a ritual ink, what I call a ritual ink by Krishna Ink. It is called Elegant Teal. I call it ritual ink because I only use it for meditation purposes when I do drawings for meditation. And again, only because I do drawings, it doesn't mean that I'm good at it, so please excuse this kind of chaotic sort of expression. And this, it was really interesting to do so, because the throat chakra, I feel that we live in a day and age in which either we're blocked in our throat chakra because we cannot express ourselves, or we're blocked by continuous overwhelm. And so getting to do some work on trying to unblock the throat chakra was very important for me. And to be honest, I didn't necessarily succeed. And so, especially now we are in April and we've got Mercury retrograde, and what good I could actually get out of this meditation ritual, now it's down the drain because of Mercury retrograde. And Mercury, in my specific case, really affects my ability to communicate and every single technological gadget that is around me. So I do kind of expect this video to just fail on me, because that's the kind of things that happen to me during Mercury retrograde. Which is fine. Then I took a day off because, as you can imagine, filming 5 videos every week, it's kind of hard to keep up with. But March, yeah, I kind of took a day off and had a couple of cupcakes and, you know, just a really nice ice cream coffee or something like that. And then obviously on March 21st, I've started this fantastic journey with my members. I published a video every week about the Deccan Walk, or almost every week about the Deccan Walk. So I started on with the RS1 energy, and we kind of, it's a bit of a sharing on my journey / studying the Deccan Walk and the astrological references in the tarot. And then I've done also the third eye chakra meditation ritual. When I received the Lenora Carrington Tarot, which is published by Folger Press, and they did a reprint, and I've been waiting for this print for years, literally pestering the Lenora Carrington Estate Instagram account to ask them when it was going to be reprinted. And then when I said, just, you know, they got tired of me, and they sent me to Folger Press, and then I started pestering them. And they finally re-released it. And so I was probably one of the first ones to push the buy button. And then I've done some more, you know, meditation, and I was so stoked to buy and receive the Self-Love Tarot, because I saw it in Annette's channel, Annette from A Project Refined Life, and she's got such amazing decks. I love her collection, and she was pairing this up with the Wild and Sacred Feminine Oracle, and it pairs up like a charm, and so I've done a lot of work with those two together. And this was another migraine day, and this coincided with my crown chakra meditation ritual, which I really couldn't get to do when I had a migraine because I just couldn't even keep my eyes open. But I just want to share how literally everything feels. Everything feels like there's vortex and spirals and chaos and confusion around me when I have a migraine. And then, you know, I'm having a pink day, and so I decided to use my new Teranishi Opera Rose ink, which is, to my dismay, not rose. It's not a rose color. It's a very beautiful orange tinged. See, it's still kind of rose, but I wouldn't call it like that. And then I was so excited because last week we went to watch The Crow, the original movie from 1994 with Brandon Lee, and I have always been such a huge fan of the movie. I love that movie so much. It's probably one of my favorite movies from the 90s, and I really believe that the 90s were a fantastic decade for movies, because we got Pulp Fiction, you know, we got all of the really, really cool movies that they released those years, and I'm never tired of watching those movies. Some of them, as I said, are my favorites in absolute, but The Crow was amazing, and they did it because it was the anniversary, the 30th anniversary, but also because this year, probably because it's the 30th, they actually did a remake, and I haven't watched it yet. I don't think they released it, but I saw that it's with Billy Skarsgård, it was playing the dad guy, the Marquis, in John Wick the 4th, and so I'm really excited about that one, even though I could tell from the trailer that it was, I don't know, there's something in the trailer that I thought, I don't know if I'm gonna like it, but we'll see. And so I just ended the month with, I don't celebrate Easter, but I honor everyone who does, because, you know, it's a matter of respect. But also the fact that there were so many Easter eggs hunts with, you know, all of the little ones around this area where I live now, and it was actually kind of fun. It was a really nice day. And it was the end of the month, and so I did my inks and pens report, where I pair up a specific phantom pen with a specific ink, and I use it the whole month, and then I write my report explaining if I like it or not for each and every one of them. And that was it for the month of March, except that I also introduced, so basically this is my, let's say, my healing step-by-step practice that I do with my Starlight members only. And the month of March was all about trying to understand where you are and asking for directions. So basically what we do is we use a dedicated spread every couple of weeks for meditation and journaling purposes. And I'm in touch with a few of my members that they choose to honor me by sharing with me their journey. And it's such an amazing thing. I am so happy that I'm doing this. And it's not mandatory to share anything. Obviously, I do have a few members that don't, but it's very, as I say, it's a kind of a humbling exercise for me, because it makes me feel how small I am, you know, compared to the universe and compared to everyone else that is part of my world. But it's also really wonderful, because it really gives me the possibility to get to an interaction level that it wouldn't be possible any other way. And then I started a practice of pairing up what we're doing with the Healing Step by Step with the Read Like a Pro series that I published for my Sunlight and Starlight members, where we are looking at the majors, focusing on clusters and constellations. And so for each and every one of them, I actually do an offering. And I use this paper, which I bought in Seoul again, and this is literally for offerings. So it's an envelope, and inside it's got a paper where I write my spread, for example, and I always add up a small charm, which I purchased from Amazon. So every time, there are so many, there's like hundreds of these, and you can always find what you're looking for. And so I add one of these charms, and I take a photo with the Instax thingy, and then, you know, I put it inside here. And this is my offering for, we started with the Magician, so my offering for the Magician, and then my offering for the High Priestess. And it's kind of really fun. And that was it for all of my healing step by step for the month of March, yes. And then, you know, I started, as I was saying, I started my deck and walk, and it's been so much fun. So what I generally do, I do every week, I share my journey with my members, but at the end of the month, I also, and in this case right now, even though we've only just one full decade for the month of March, and we started a new one just a couple of days ago. So I'm just gonna share every month. I will be sharing what I've done with everyone. And so this is Aries 1. And so I, by the way, small disclaimer, I actually follow the Golden Dawn's guidelines, not Aleister Crowley's guidance. I just prefer it this way. And so even the color coordination is as explained by the Golden Dawn. And so we're looking at all of the, let's say, a chart that tells me, you know, all of the references from the planetary positions to the hermetic title to the alchemical references to the reference to the minors and the majors, and so on and so forth. And I explain what decks I'm using. I'm giving out a free spread to understand what, how to most relate to that particular decan. And so, you know, and I've done, basically I set up the whole of 2 books. So this is a Midori, or used to be before I modified it. And that was it when it comes to, let's say, journals. I just wanted to show you all of the decks. So, and I've got so many, so let's just go quickly. This is the Mystic Palette Tarot. This is the indie edition, and it's the tuned, or I call it sepia. But it's actually officially it's the muted tone edition. I am so very happy about this deck because the cardstock is phenomenal. And I heard from Lisa Pepes, who did a video showing, among other decks, the I don't remember whether she was showing the full color edition or the muted tone edition, but in any case it was the mass market edition, and it was published by, I think, Llewellyn, which has a fantastic book. But for what I understood, the cardstock is not the best, and this one is fantastic. The cardstock of this deck is amazing, and so I'm so very happy that I got this one. I also got the full edition back in February, but I got the German edition of the English one because the English one wasn't available. And so I think that the cardstock, it's published by Urania, and I think that the cardstock of the mass market is actually better than the Llewellyn one, but I'm not entirely sure because I don't have the Llewellyn. Perhaps one day I will buy the Llewellyn of the Muted just to see, because the cards are bigger, and so I will be able to see more of the details of this fantastic, really, really beautiful art style. Chiro is amazing, I wish I could collect all of these decks. He's made so many, and I think none of them is officially out of print, but it might be difficult to get a hold of, for example, the retrospective tarot or the Encore tarot. The Encore tarot is just in French, for example, but it's really beautiful. And I know that in some countries they sell it on Amazon, but I couldn't find it on Amazon Australia, so I think I might probably have to log into Amazon France or something like that. But in any case, this is such an amazing deck. I cannot wait to work with it because I look at this death card. Because these are the colors I really seek out when we're going towards autumn. And I recently posted a video about seasonal decks, not just for the northern hemisphere, and you guys are lucky because you're going towards spring and summer, but also for the southern hemisphere because we're actually entering that bleaker part of the year. Today, for example, it's raining, it's really gloomy outside. I needed artificial light, which I hope is not gonna die on me because I didn't charge it fully. So we'll see. So this was the Mystic palette. Then I'm just gonna go randomly, you know, whatever I can pick. So this is the Sun and Moon Tarot, and it's one of the decks that I actually purchased for my deck and walk because it is a Thoth inspired, and it is super cute because it's in a tin. And I have a renewed passion for tarot in a tins or mini decks, let's say, lately. And I even published a tag, show me your minis, and I hope that more people join in. It's so much fun. I think that they're doing a great deal of these decks being republished as minis. So I haven't started using this deck yet. I love the art style. It's really quirky, it's cute at the same time. And I have to say, I looked into purchasing the full size as well, but it looks like, I don't know, but from the images that I've seen, it looks like the borders on the full size are actually white. And I kind of prefer this black because it really makes the colors pop, as you can see. And so I don't know if I'm gonna purchase the full size. For the time being, I'm really, really happy with my mini with the black borders. So as you can see, you know, it is inspired by Thoth, and I think, let me see, yes. So basically, you can also see the differences in the hermetic titles, because for example, the Two of Wands is actually common in the Golden Dawn and Aleister Crowley, so it is the Lord of Dominion. But when it comes to the Three of Wands in the Golden Dawn, this is the Lord of Established Strength, because it really gives you the idea of the Three of Wands being a person that has reached the maturity in ruling and knows exactly how much strength to apply to their ruling, and has found the balance between intuition and the law, and so logic. Whereas when it comes to Aleister Crowley's hermetic title, he calls it the Lord of Virtue. And I believe that it's I prefer, it's a matter of personal preferences, really. It doesn't change that much, and so I do prefer the Golden Dawn. And so because of that, not that I would not have bought, I would have bought this one anyway, it's just that when I saw that the titles were actually more, let's say, more related to Aleister Crowley rather than the Golden Dawn, I actually bought the Hermetic Tarot because this one I double checked before I pushed the buy button. This one is actually related to the Golden Dawn, and there's a lot of symbology in this deck. There's so much symbology, it's crazy. I mean, you could study this deck for hours. It is also really beautiful, I believe. I mean, it is a black and white deck, but I actually like black and white decks. I'm actually gonna post a VR to Thea from the Garden Goddess Tarot. She posted a video about all of her black and white decks, saying that she actually likes black and white decks, and I thought, oh, finally someone else who loves black and white decks, because I'm not the only one out there. And so as you can see, so here we go again with the Two of Wands, Lord of Dominion, which is common with Aleister Crowley's magic title. But then for the Three of Wands, we got the Lord of Established Strength. For the Four of Wands, we got the Lord of Perfected Work, and so on and so forth. And so it's going to be so much fun to use this deck when I'm looking for references, you know, related to the deck and walk. It's a pity though that it's not in color, because it would have been nice to see also the color association of the Golden Dawn, even though I do believe that at the end of the day that would have made it probably a bit confusing, because when you cram so many symbols into a deck, unless it's a massive size, it could be a bit confusing. But this one was not the only deck that I got thanks to the deck and walk that I'm gonna start. So I also got this one, the mini edition or the minima edition of the Tabula Mundi and the Table of the World. So this is an amazing deck. It's so beautiful. I may consider in the future actually purchasing the well, the full size, but I think that they also have like a large size. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I've seen a larger, not just the full size, but also like just a larger size of the deck. And I really like it. It's very thought inspired, as you can see. I'm just gonna this one though, as you can see from the Three of Wands, it refers back to again to Aleister Crowley's Hermetic title. So you know, I'm quite happy that I purchased the Hermetic Tarot. Look at this star card. It's absolutely amazing. I love the colors so much in this card. It's so beautiful, and the universe is beautiful. Generally speaking, I think that, see, as you can see in this card, for the Magus, for example, is a DJ. And so I really admire the way in which the creators of this deck combine the modern element with the older one, with the ancient one and the traditional ones, because they've done a great job. And I'm pretty sure that it's not that simple, you know, not to make something stand out like a punch in the face. If you see something modern, is something as dated as perhaps the Golden Dawn studies. You put a DJ with the Golden Dawn, it just wouldn't normally, you know, be blended in, except that in this case, I think that they've done a great job in doing that. And I certainly don't feel like it's inappropriate. I feel like it's a different way to actually show me the essence of that card, and I appreciate that. So this is the Tabula Mundi. And so that was another thought-inspired deck for my deck and walk. And let's have a look. So still talking about the deck and walk, we've got, and out quickly, these two decks, the Star Cards Astro, and let me just zoom out because I'm going to show you the other deck as well. So I wanted something that was referring back to planets and zodiac signs, and so I got both the Numinous Astro deck and the Star Cards Astrological. I prefer this one when it comes to aesthetics, because this is more modern, but I have to admit that this one is more straightforward when it comes to when you want to learn something. And even though the book is very good and it talks about all of the associations, I love it because it also gives you an association for the body part, which is very interesting. On the other hand, though, you know, it's beautiful, but as you can see, this is the style. It's a photographic collage, really, really cool, and it pairs up with so many of my decks. But on the other hand, it doesn't convey as much of the knowledge that you're trying to study and memorize. So this one could be for aesthetic reasons. So that's why obviously I'm gonna keep it, and I'm gonna keep using this one. But I'm also going to do a lot of work with the Star Cards Astro, because this is more the deck you would expect to use when you're doing a study of something. And ironically, the book is less informative than the Numeros Astro deck, which is funny. But the deck itself is very complete. You can find all of the references. And so I actually do like this. And it does have sacred geometry, which is very interesting. And it's one of the elements that you don't see in the other deck. But when it comes to all of this information, to be honest with you, you cannot really do an overwhelm. You can't or overload of information, because otherwise the risk is not to retain anything. And so even with my members, I'm trying to talk about one argument at a time, because otherwise, if you put everything on the table, there's a lot of things that may slip away and not being remembered. And you never know, one of those things might actually be very important. And so I just prefer to take my time and let everyone churn, digest all of this information in their own time, because there's no judgment and we all have different rhythms in life. And so sometimes, even myself, sometimes I don't have time to just stay there and study stuff, and so it might take me longer than others to understand something, which is absolutely fine. And these were the decks, I think, for my deck and walk. Yeah, so let's talk about this deck, which is really cool. So it's called the Gothmancy Tarot. I used to have this deck a while ago, a few years ago, but I had an edition which wasn't in gold, it was in silver, I seem to remember. And I had really bad problems with the tack box, like it was ruining the cards all the time. I just, it got so bad that at a certain point I didn't feel like using the deck anymore, because I was like, it really put me off, the fact that every time I was putting the deck back in the tack box, it was just ruining the cards because I couldn't close it, or I literally had to leave the flap open, which is, for someone with OCD, I can tell you that is not a good feeling. But as you can see, this deck is based on popular, let's say, celebrities of the rock and the music world from the 80s and 90s. But there's also other references. At a certain point, I think there's Adam's Family, for example, which is really cool. And I absolutely love this deck. I think that the references are really spot on. There is a guidebook, so you can actually read it if you want. I love the way in which it also portrays the characters, because they are recognizable without, having copyright problems. Obviously, you need to be careful about these kind of things. But they are so readily recognizable if you were a fan of these bands. And I was, back in London, when I used to live in London, it was just a concert every week. And they were not expensive, if you can believe it. They were not expensive. Concerts back then, especially concerts in a club, they were not expensive. It was just the price of the entry for the club. And it's crazy, the way in which they overprice the concerts nowadays is just really crazy. Even though I kind of understand it, because they really need to up the antes in many, many cases. They spend so much money on stages and special effects and stuff like that. And so I really, really love this deck, and I really enjoyed using. There's also the Crow, Eric Draven at a certain point. I don't remember where, the Adams Family, but there's also Eric Draven. So I was really, really excited when I got this deck just before I got to watch the Crow again. And just randomly, so the Penumbra Tarot was sent to me by Anthony for review, and I have to say I was really happy, because this deck had been on my wish list for a while. And so I was really stoked when I heard that when I saw that she reached out to me. And I just love this deck. It's absolutely amazing. Look, some of the cards are so intense, because this is one of the decks that you actually use in the Penumbra. So the Penumbra is that space which is between the light and shadow. It is not shadow, but it's not light yet. And so you can actually decide on the directionality. If you do some Penumbra kind of work, you can actually decide whether you pair it up with a different kind of oracle, that you want to do a more of a shadow center kind of work, or with a different oracle altogether. perhaps something with lighter tones if you want to do that kind of resurfacing to the light kind of work. And this is fantastic for that. The symbology on the cards is amazing. The colors are fantastic. I love how saturated they are because this is my kind of colors. And I have to say, I know that it sounds strange because earlier on I just said that I love black and white decks. Well, guess what? I mean, it can coexist. You can actually love color decks and you can also love black and white decks. And in my case, it really depends on the day, really. Some days I just really crave the monochrome decks. Some others I just need these splashes of colors because it just works to my mood. So I really appreciate this. Really excellent deck. And I saw just recently Anthony has posted some work with a spread on Mercury retrograde, and I highly recommend it because it's yeah, I mean, this Mercury retrograde also happens in eclipse season, so every single slight issue that you may have due to the eclipse season, it just gets magnified by the fact that Mercury is retrograde. So I'm expecting really literally not being able to communicate, which really frustrates me to no end because I kind of, you know, communication is my greatest skill, and being frustrated to the fact that either it won't go out or it can't get through or I can't get the message out. It's frustrating even before it actually happens. So we'll see how it goes. So this was the Penumbra Tarot. So many decks this month, by the way, sorry about that, but there's a few. So these two, I'm going to show them together, and this is definitely, I think I spoke about these two before. This is Annette made me do it, so Annette from a Project Refined Life, because she's posted a video where it was also, I think, her February wrap-up video, I think, and she was pairing the Self-Love Tarot with the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck. And I had this Self-Love Tarot was on my wish list for such a long time, and I finally decided to get it. I reached out to a dear friend of mine who was looking to rehome it probably a few months ago, and I said, look, I think that now I'm kind of ready to get it. So back then I wasn't. So fair warning, there is nudity. However, it's a very cartoonized and stylized kind of nudity. And the whole meaning of this deck is actually to focus on the fact that we come as we are. And this is what we look like. This is nature, it's natural, and it's just really nothing to be ashamed of because we're all beautiful regardless of the way we look. And I really, really appreciate that. I just wanted to say that there is a bit of nudity in the deck, just to, you know, to warn you. And so Annette has been pairing it with the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck. I also have the mass market edition. I think Annette she may actually have the indie edition, I don't remember. There are a few cards that are different from what I remember, from the indie to the mass market. And I kick myself for not getting the indie deck, but this one is really, really gorgeous. It comes with, as you can see, a really interesting companion book. And the cards, the art style, the color palette, everything is so very kind and gentle. And it does remind me at times of the Gentle Tarot, or it does remind me of a deck that could pair well with the Gentle Tarot. But Annette was pairing with the Self-Love, and so I'm just going to show you how beautiful these two are together. So at times the Self-Love Tarot is, at times it's a bit peevish, at times it's not. But look at these two, even notice the directionality, the fact that there is this wall between these two creatures. So the Six of Pentacles and the Butterfly and Transformation. And it seems to tell us that whenever we can reestablish that flow, which is represented by the numerological power of the Six, between, you know, the alchemy of the suit of the earth. So you have this coming and going of really strong earthy kind of energies that will produce the transformation of the butterfly. Or, you know, the Hierophant with the Priestess as intuition, of course. It's almost as if we had two major arcanas, which are, by the way, mirroring each other. or the Ten of Swords with the Queen with sovereignty, and the Nine of Swords with rebel, revolutionary. There's so much that I love about these two decks. They talk to each other, they complement each other, they really have this kind of deep communication in a level that sometimes is more like an intuitive level for us as readers. But it just works. It works really, really well. And I'm really grateful to Annette for proposing this pairing, because I can definitely tell how much work can be done by following the direction given by these two decks. Sometimes I don't want to lead, sometimes I want to be led, I want to be shown the way. Sometimes I create my own path, sometimes I just want to be shown the path. And there are different decks that, fulfill both, both ways, or either way. And this one is one of the decks that definitely, if you are in that kind of mood in which you prefer to follow rather than lead, then in this case it's a perfect combination of decks to use, because it really gives you that possibility. So as I was saying, this is the Wild and Sacred Feminine deck, and I paired it up with the Self-Love Tarot. And let's see, what else have I got? So as I mentioned, I also received the Major Arcana deck by Leonora Carrington that has been republished by Folger Press, and I did a fun unboxing. I call it Unicorn Deck Alert. So once a month I do in my members a Mystery Unicorn Deck Alert kind of unboxing, and this was for the month of March. And this is, I don't know what to say, it's so amazing. I am very familiar with Leonora's work because I have seen her work in an exhibition in Venice a couple of years ago. And then there was another expo of the occult a few years back in Amsterdam. And so every time that there is something that displays Leonora Carrington's work, I make sure that I can go, because it's absolutely fantastic. And she had a grasp on tarot that many artists don't have. And even though many artists can produce amazing decks because they are fantastic artists, look at this Hermit card, I feel that Leonora's work is so impregnated with occult and the knowledge of tarot that it is an excellent deck also for readings and not just a beautiful collectible item. Look at this Strength card, it's beautiful. And so I was really, really happy that I could finally get a hold of this deck. I have to say, this deck was out of print for a while and people are asking $300-400 US for it. And I just couldn't afford it because it's a lot of money. Obviously, having to pay also heaps of money in shipping. So in any case, that was, very affordable. And I also went to Mind Body Spirit Festival, where I went to the rock pool stand, and they were already selling a few tarot decks, oracle decks that had not been published yet. So I was able to grab a copy of the Seasons of the Witch Letha Oracle. Again, I did an unboxing, and it was super fun. With my members. I really love what they're doing with these Seasons of the Witch oracles. They are absolutely fantastic. I love that they switched from the lyrical sentences at the bottom that looked like poems to more like messages. And they did change Illustrator, and I really, really love. I love both of the styles, even the previous Illustrator, absolutely. I have nothing to say, I just love both of them. I think that they have different vibes, but you can still work with them all together. And so I'm pleased to say that I've seen that they already have Llamas in the works. I think it's going to be released in July, and there is no talk yet for Ostara. But I'm guessing you don't do 7, and then, the 8th one we're just gonna stop and, I mean, you do all of them. So it's something that I'm really, really looking forward to when I will have all of these ones together. We're going to do so many spreads and work on the full year. For example, I might look into integrating them whenever I do a Wheel of the Year reading, for example. So really cool. And I love the fact that obviously you can switch them depending whether you live in the north or the southern hemisphere. So this is the Scissors of the Witch Letha. I also got another couple of oracle decks that were not released yet, but since I did a video on the Mind, Body, Spirit hole, I'm not going to show you because otherwise this video is going to be way too long. But the last thing that I wanted to show you is this one. So this is the Scissors of the Witch Samhain journal. Not an oracle, it's the journal. It's based on the oracle by Lorianne Anderson. It's a journal, so as you can see, it's basically blank apart from, there's actually quite a few images inside which are taken from the cards, and they're really, really beautiful. And I did something really funny. I thought to myself, I have another copy of this, and so I organized a tarot trivia where I was asking questions. I wasn't asking questions, I was literally talking about a few decks, 10 decks in total, and I was describing the cards. I was giving out 3 sentences for each and every deck, and one of those 3 sentences was false, and so I was inviting people to point out which one of those 3 sentences was the false one. And the first person, Roots and Waves, was the one that won. She was the winner. She was the first person that actually pointed out all of the 10 false sentences, and so she actually won the Scissors of the Witch Samhain journal, which I'm going to send out as soon as I go to the post office. And that was it for today. So this was my month of March, which, as you can see, was really, really busy. But it keeps me happy, and I'm very excited about the month of April. I've got a lot of things that I'm planning to do. So yeah, stay tuned and see you soon.